fans from all around the globe. I am your afternoon solo host for the day. Jeff Dawson has had and will continue to have a very busy day today. So you've got me solo breaking down the rest of the action that I'm seeing today. I do know Jeff and Scotty Webb will be back in, I believe, 2 short hours, if my time is not mistaken here, breaking down what's going on tonight, what they've been seeing in at least baseball. I don't know if they're doing anything else, but obviously the usual topic with those two is baseball, so we will be, or they will be diving in. Today I will be making it short and sweet, as I always do. Evening, Mr. Connor McClernand. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Sorry there, Connor, but thank you for stopping by. As I mentioned, gonna keep this short and sweet. Handful of MLB games, handful of NBA games. NBA is kind of, obviously Jeff and I have been talking about it. Finish line is in sight. There's some pretty ridiculous spreads tonight. Maybe a couple of the biggest that we've seen all season long. So maybe a couple we're talking about, but we'll probably breeze right through NBA. Touch on a handful of NBA or MLB games tonight. Maybe dip our toes into what I'm thinking with the Masters weekend. I'll have my Masters blog hopefully coming out tonight on the ECSI website, and then we'll be getting out of here. So without further ado, obviously props are in order to. I'm sure Jeff has talked about it plenty with his shows already today, but the UConn Huskies cutting down the nets last night over San Diego State. San Diego State had a nice little surge late in the game, tried to get back into it, but obviously couldn't get there. So now the long offseason begins for college basketball. Obviously, with the transfer portal, it's kind of a Wild West, and it'll probably be another Wild West offseason again here. Speaking of Wild West teams and dipping their toes in the transfer portal, Illinois, my team, Illinois. Big transfer portal team last year, and now probably going to be another one there. So, moving on to, as I mentioned, let's breeze through the NBA slate real quick. I don't know what's going on with the NHL tonight. Obviously, I'm not your NHL guy. There are plenty of NHL games, so hopefully you can get your insight somewhere else, because I can't help you out with that. But NBA tonight, just diving right into it. I know a few games here. First one up, 6 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock East Coast time. Cleveland and Orlando. Orlando 4.5-point dogs at home. Cleveland 49-30. Orlando 34-44. After a rough start, fantastic stretch in the kind of the middle of the season, and then a little bit of in limbo spot. Now they've been playing really solid basketball again. It is going to be too little too late, and really it was, I'm drawing a blank on what their start was, but a horrendous start is really what handicapped them, or handcuffed them, I should say, this season, because they're only 4 spots out of the play-in game, but and I guess they're technically not eliminated if they win their last 4 and the Bulls lose their last 4. They'll be tied with the Bulls, and I don't know if they have a tiebreaker or there'll be a tiebreaker game, whatever it is. But hopefully that doesn't happen for my sake. But they have had a nice season. They've got a nice building block season. Cash my over on them for the season. Got presumably the Paolo Banchero Rookie of the Year ticket coming down the pipe as well. Cleveland 49-30. They are in the 4 spot in the East pretty firmly, 3 ahead of New York and 2.5 behind Philly. So unless something drastic happens, they're pretty locked into the 4th. Probably going to be seeing a Cavs-Knicks first-round series, which would be one of the better first-round series for sure there. But as far as tonight is concerned, 4.5. Double-checking the injury report on this one. I don't see anything too major to report. All the main characters should be in uniform tonight and ready to rock. As far as the spread on this one, I guess I'll lean towards the Magic, but this is another one where you don't know what the motivations are of these teams, honestly. You've got the Magic, who, like I said, maybe they still feel like they're going to play until there's an actual elimination mark next to their name, and that's where you're given the motivation to. Cavs pretty well locked into the 4 seed there. They're kind of just coasting through these last 4 games. They've got, I think they've only got 3 games left, including tonight. So they've got Orlando again on Thursday. So maybe you wait for Thursday, depending on what happens tonight between these two teams to see what happens. Cleveland finishes out with Charlotte, so they're just kind of cruising here through these last 3 games. So I'll lean towards Orlando, but I would be more comfortable revisiting this matchup on Thursday based on what happens tonight, honestly, there. So Milwaukee and Washington, we can breeze right past. 14-point spread. No Bradley Beal, I imagine. Haven't been paying close attention to the Washington situation, but Bradley Beal gone. Washington, same record as Orlando, but I think Bulls must have the tiebreaker over them, so they are officially eliminated. They've been not playing as bad as you might expect without Bradley Beal, but these last couple have not looked great. So seeing a 14-point spread there, we'll skip over that one. Same thing, Toronto and Charlotte, 14.5-point spread. Toronto in the 9 seed right now, tied for the 8 spot with Atlanta. Atlanta and Chicago play each other tonight, though, so one of those teams is losing. If Atlanta loses and Toronto wins, they're jumping into the 8 spot, which would be it might not sound crazy, might not sound like a lot, but 9 up to 8 gets you in a much better spot. Yeah, you're going on the road playing that 17, but you got 2 chances to win 1 game if you're the 8 seed. If you're the 9 or 10 seed, you got to win 2 games to get into the actual playoffs. So Toronto, another reason why that spread is so inflated, up against obviously a Charlotte team that's bottom 5 in the league. But at the end of the day, I'm not touching a 14.5-point spread. But this one should be there. But it should be some solid motivation for Toronto. They're 2 games behind Miami, the 7th spot, which obviously would be huge, but probably a little too late there. But they do get an opportunity to either if they win in. Atlanta wins. They keep pace with Atlanta, and they get a 2-game gap between them and the Bulls to avoid having to go to Chicago against the Bulls in that 9-10 game. And obviously, if the Bulls pull this one off, they stay a game ahead of them and move up into that 8 seed firmly. So this is a big one, and we'll get to that Atlanta Bulls game because that's obviously a big one as well. But going to avoid the 14.5-point spread for sure. Miami and Detroit, 13.5-point spread. Ugly. We're not going to touch that one as well. Minnesota and Brooklyn, 39-40 Minnesota at 43-35 Brooklyn. Brooklyn, obviously, we know what's been going on with them. If you don't know what's been going on with them, they haven't been playing terrible lately. They've won their last 3 games. Houston, but then Atlanta and Utah, nice wins there. So at home here for Minnesota. Minnesota is in the 9 seed in the West. The West getting a little clearer. Still some drama to be had, but they are the 9 seed in the West. 1 game ahead of Oklahoma City for 10 spot, and 2 games ahead of Dallas for the 11th seed. And outside looking in, 1.5 behind of the 7 and 8 seed as well. So probably going to see this Minnesota team in that 9 seed. If they lose this, obviously they could slip down to 10. And then in Brooklyn's case, you have them in the 6th seed, but only 2 games ahead of Miami with the 4 games remaining for both those teams. So if they collapse and lose 3 out of these 4, Miami could jump into that 6th spot and avoid the play-in game altogether, which is obviously what they're looking for. So you got Brooklyn as a home team in this one, as a home dog in this one. I'll lean towards Minnesota, but another one that it would not surprise me at all if Brooklyn continues the way they're playing, but I will lean towards Minnesota in this one, but another one that I just don't love at all. TNT game, the first TNT game, I assume there's 2 tonight, Boston and Philly. Fairly big game if Philly can win this one. Probably not much can be done. 4 games left. Philly would essentially have to run the table, including this one. But Boston, 2 games behind Milwaukee for the 1 seed, 3 games ahead of Philly for the 2 and 3 seed there, and Philly 2.5 up on Cleveland. So if Cleveland wins and Philly loses, then that gets a little tighter there. But both these teams, they want to win this game, but they also don't want to kill themselves, right before the playoffs. So I think injury-wise, you've got I do see Jaylen Brown questionable, so not sure what the situation is there, but I see him in the projected lineup. These 2 teams just played each other, I guess it was back in February, so they played a couple times in February. Boston's won both of those matchups, so I'm going to lean towards Philly getting the win at home here, but that's a strong lean. Another one that I'm, not too confident in. Both these teams are just trying to get across the finish line here tonight. Sacramento and the Pelicans is a solid one. Sacramento, the 3 seed in the West right now, 5 games behind Denver, 2 games behind Memphis, and 4 games ahead of Phoenix for the in the 3 spot. They're 4 games ahead of Phoenix, who's in the 4 spot. So not really in risk of going down. They do have an outside chance of going up, talking about Sacramento here. And then in New Orleans' case, they're in the 8th seed right now, tied with the Lakers for 7 and 8. Half game behind of the Clippers and Golden State for 5 and 6. So New Orleans got a chance to jump. They're kind of distancing themselves, especially if Minnesota can lose tonight from the 9 seed. They still have the opportunity to get into the 5-6 spot there and avoid the play-in altogether. So you would probably suspect that they have a little bit more motivation. I think the line is a little inflated based off of that here at -4. This one opened a little lower, unless I'm missing an injury news, and that's why this one ballooned a little bit. Malik Monk questionable, but I do think that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. Let's see. Pelicans getting a decent amount of money in this one tonight. So I will lean towards the Pelicans getting the win, but I think you missed a good number on this one. Open the -1.5, 2. Pelicans are starting to play some really solid basketball right now. They're above 500 at this point. Still no Zion, but without him, they're just flat out playing really solid basketball. Kings not playing bad by any means. But there's probably going to be a little more motivation from the Pelican squad tonight. They've got Memphis here on tomorrow at home as well, followed by the Knicks and Minnesota. So they've got to win 3 out of these 4, and they might have a chance of getting into that 5-6 spot. So these are big games for the Pelicans here to avoid that altogether. So again, I'll lean towards the Pelicans getting the win, but don't love the number at this point at all here. Denver, only 8.5, considering some of these big spreads, only 8.5. Check in here. Jokic appears to be in. I see him questionable, so maybe that's, reading through the leaves a little bit there. Jamal Murray probable. 8.5 is a little concerning considering all these massive spreads. Might be a little mind game action here, but I guess I would just be aware on this one altogether on this one. With all these tanking teams seeing 15 points, even one that we haven't talked about, close to a 20-point spread. To see 8.5 is the one that is certainly concerning, but I am not going to touch it. Again, these teams are trying to get across the finish line. The Rockets are trying to lose games. But at the end of the day, that one makes a stop and check it out a little bit. Maybe Jokic is out, and that's what we're dealing with, but we're going to move on from that one altogether. Grizzlies, 17.5-point favorites against Portland. The Lakers, 10-point favorites against the Jazz. The Jazz, early season success story. They've fallen apart, obviously. And let me double check where they're at in the standings. I don't think they have much of a chance. A little too late, or the wheels have fallen off. I guess they're a game and a half out of the 10th spot, so they got to win their last 4 here and get some help from OKC, and Dallas. But this thing's not looking good. Larry Markin is out, and they have not been playing well without him at all. And the Lakers are playing some solid ball right now. They've won 4 of their last 5. Last 3 games, their offense is clicking right now, so they are ascending at the right time. I imagine the Lakers win this game, but numbers certainly inflated on that one there. And I'm not going to go deeper into these games. OKC, Golden State, 8-point favorites against OKC at home. And the Suns, 19-point favorites at home against the Spurs. Unless I'm drawing a blank, that's got to be the biggest one of the season here. Spurs are sitting there, top scorers. Keldon Johnson not playing, or he's injured. I honestly don't know if he's sitting or injured. Zach Collins out, Romeo Langford out. And the Suns are on a roll right now. They just put up 128 on OKC the other night. Spurs did win the other night in Sacramento, but it's been rough aside from that. And there's a good chance that one is their last hurrah for the season. They do have Portland on Thursday, so maybe I'll eat my words with no Damian Lillard there. But that about does it from the NBA. Just tread lightly. If you've got something you really love, then go ahead and fire away. But definitely not a night or any of these regular season nights to be really, firing away volume betting on the NBA. That is not the right move there. So we'll move on to the MLB here. One game, close to halfway through. Bottom of the 4th, San Diego leading 2-0 over Arizona. Aside from that, got a couple starting here in an hour and a half or so. The Miami Marlins hosting the Minnesota Twins. Twins get a big win yesterday. Now you got Alcantara on the mound for Miami against Maeda. I've been betting on this Marlins team a couple spots. Didn't bet on them yesterday. Don't want to bet on them as a favorite now. But I do, their offense has been in a spot where they so far have been doing what they've been doing each of the last 2 years. 3 runs scored, and then 2-2, 1-1. So you got to feel good that they should get some run support today, at least 3-4 runs at the very minimum for Alcantara here, but I'm sure he would tell you that that's not a safe bet. Twins 4-0 though, 2-2 offensively in their first two, and then 7-11. So on the flip side, you would hope if you're liking the Marlins that the Twins are due for some offensive regression here. So that's where I'm going to lean. I don't love betting this Marlins team at whatever it is, minus 155. And then a little concerning that the first five is honestly a little slimmer than the full game. So it really wouldn't surprise me at all if the Marlins had another hiccup altogether here. But I will lean towards the Marlins without any gambling numbers behind it. But I wouldn't be jumping into this number here. Even the team total over 3.5, I saw minus 120, 125. Not a great number there as well, but I would lean towards Miami putting up a few more runs here, which is 3 or 4. I'll go towards that, which is positive for them right now. So might sound simple, but it's positive for them. We'll skip over the Cubs and Reds. Don't know enough about that pitching matchup there. Phillies in New York for the Yankees. Strom versus Domingo Germán. Minus 160 on the full game, 145 on the first five there. The Phillies obviously 0-4. Offense has not been working so far. Opening day was fine, but then 3-1-1 these last three. Yankees offense has been fantastic through 4 games. Even in the loss, they put up 5 runs. Have put up at least 5 in all of those games. Going over the team totals here, just to get a picture what that is. Yankees over 4.5, minus 115. Excuse me. Phillies over 3.5, minus 120. I'll at least go with. I don't know what to expect out of Strom here for the Phillies. I would like to expect some regression offensively from the Yankees and some nice offensive positive regression for the Phillies. I don't know what to expect out of this Strom guy. He's pitched 1 inning on Thursday and opening day, so I actually don't know if this is a bullpen day or if he's getting the start or not. I will lean towards the Phillies having some offensive regression or positive regression, excuse me. So I'll say they get up over that team total, but don't love the minus odds on that one. Moving over to we'll move past Rays and Nats. Let's see, Rays and Nats. Rays 4-0, Nats 1-3. Rays get the 6-2 victory yesterday. And these numbers, honestly, you would like them to be a little steeper for the Rays, over 5.5 at plus money. So I'm going to skip over this one altogether. I don't have a feel for these pitchers at all. Jeff and I were spot on with the Royals yesterday. We had the Royals scoring some runs and winning the game. I think Jeff was leaning towards the team total. I was leaning towards the money line. Could obviously be wrong about that altogether. I know I was on the money line, though. 9-5 victory there. Toronto 1-3. Both these teams 1-3, but Toronto more surprisingly 1-3. Offense has been okay, but their defense or their pitching has not been good at all. Kikuchi versus Bubic here. I would lean towards the Blue Jays having a better day today, and maybe a nice. I think this is start number 1 for Kikuchi. Yeah, so I would lean towards Kikuchi having a good start to get the Blue Jays pitching woes behind him a little bit here, but. Anything could happen with Kikuchi here. But I will lean towards the over-under is 10 on this one. So somebody's getting lit up. Honestly, I should double-check the weather before we get into this one any further because the Midwest has got some ugly, nasty weather. Kansas City's hot, and there's maybe some wind blowing out of this one. So maybe take a look at some home run props on this one. That is maybe my best advice on this one. I certainly I don't hate the Royals in this one, but I certainly am not a spot where I'm taking the Royals 2 days in a row after getting plus 150 or whatever it was. Maybe not quite that nice, but plus 150 or whatever it was yesterday. I'm going to take my money and run. So that's where I'm at with that one. Scherzer and Wade Miley, Mets and Brewers. 3-2 Mets, 3-1 Brewers in Milwaukee. Scherzer and the Mets minus 150 here on the road. His first starts, Scherzer, I do believe was solid. Let me double check what we got here. Not great, not bad. 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 6 Ks. And Wade Miley, this is start number 1 for him. You know what? I don't. I would love to see this number be a lot steeper if I was interested in backing Scherzer. The first five number is minus 170 as compared to the full game of 150. But end of the day, I might be interested in maybe Scherzer still not being quite in form yet, and this Brewers team may being able to get to him a little bit here. You could also, devil's advocate to what I'm saying, you could say the Brewers are due for some offensive regression. They put up 9 and 10 runs these last 2 days. So I'll lean towards the Brewers having some nice action here today, but I will stay away with the potential regression offensively there. So only a few more left. Atlanta and St. Louis. I don't have a good feel for this pitching matchup. Dodd, I don't know much about. Matz, obviously, he's a familiar face. Cardinals minus 135 on the money line. So maybe this is the day to back the Cardinals. Braves get the win 8-4 yesterday. Cardinals still 2-2. Braves 3-1. I just don't know enough about this Dodd guy. On one hand, Dylan Dodd. He's 24 years old, making his debut here. But Steven Matz, obviously 31. This is his first start. Is familiar with Atlanta. Atlanta is fairly familiar with him. Steven Matz used to pitch in the AL East with the Mets there, so a few guys should be familiar with him. But I'll lean towards Matz and the Cardinals getting a nice win at home here. 2-2. They're better than 2-2. Obviously, still early, but they're better than that. They can compete with this Braves team as good as I think the Braves are. Is maybe a decent spot where I'm interested in the Cardinals here, but I not quite enough confidence with the X factor or question mark of Dodd there. Orioles and Rangers. Rangers minus 145. I believe the Orioles got the win yesterday, 2-0. Rangers offense was due for some regression there. Gibson versus Heaney today. Total 8.5. Team totals: Rangers 4.5, plus 100. Baltimore 3.5 or 4. I would be leaning towards. I don't know what to expect out of Baltimore against Heaney here today. I would be willing to say maybe Texas offense has another day of struggle here, and this Orioles team may be able to keep it rolling here a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to jump into this one. But I do think maybe the Rangers could have another tough outing offensively against Gibson here. I think he has had this will be start number 2 for him, Gibson, and the first one was not fantastic. 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks. So I'll go with the Gibson bounce back here in this one. First 5 pretty similar odds to the full game. So give me Orioles plus a half run in the first 5 is where I'll go with that one. Detroit and Houston. I do believe Detroit got the win yesterday, 7-6. Their offense wakes up. Jeff and I were, I believe this was one of the ones we were kind of sniffing out as a potential goofy spot, or at least Detroit putting up some runs. Houston back to minus 285. Valdez on the mound versus Matt Manning. I really like Valdez. I don't think this Tigers offense is good enough to hang with him. You don't know what to expect from Matt Manning, though. Matt Manning has shown some good flashes. He could be in for a nice start as well. So I might be interested in the full game under altogether on that one. Tigers offense falls back. But at the end of the day, I'm going to stay away from that one altogether. 3 games left. Cleveland and Oakland. Bieber versus Sears. Bieber on the mound. He, I believe, was good in his first start for Cleveland. They are minus 180 on the road. In Oakland against a 1-3 Oakland team. I would like 11-12 was the score yesterday. Cleveland wins 12-11. I would feel a lot better with Bieber on the mound against Sears if this one was at least minus 200. You're getting a pretty reasonable price on the run line. So I don't know. Let's see what the team totals are. Oakland over 2.5. I'm not saying I think the A's are going to beat up Bieber. I think the Cleveland offense could struggle in this one a little bit here. So I'm going to lean towards Oakland finding a way to at least keep this one close. The total is really low. I'll say plus 1.5 on the full game. A's minus 110, plus 1.5 might be a decent look. It is sketchy, obviously, a tough pill to swallow with this A's team after they just scored 11 runs. Maybe you would feel better about the Cleveland team total under in this one if you're thinking their offense regresses under 3.5 at plus money. I could get down behind that one as well. So this one just smells a little bit. AL Central teams on the West Coast have some goofy luck, and Cleveland is 4-1 so far on the West Coast. So I'm kind of expecting some just regression on the West Coast here for an AL Central team altogether there. Angels in Seattle on the in Seattle there. Seattle 1-4. Good team. They've been struggling so far. Their pitching has not been very good, not where they had been when they've been successful the past couple of years. Angels offense and defense and offense and pitching working well so far. Pitching matchup for this one: Suarez versus Castillo. Mariners minus 174, plus money on the run line though. So I think this one is going to be a close game. But at the end of the day, you could absolutely see Seattle. Finally, I shouldn't say finally, but getting their second win, getting out of this rut that they're in, 1-4, and maybe some regression from the Angels. Doesn't seem like it's not a home run by any means, and the plus 132 on the run line is a little too good to be true for me with Castillo on the mound. But I will say I'll lean towards the Mariners getting the win in this one. But this one is a little concerning to me. I could see Castillo was great in the first one. It would not surprise me to see him regress a little bit there. So buyer beware on the Mariners there again. Marquez versus Urias, last one up. Rockies and Dodgers. Dodgers, I believe, get the win last night, 13-4 at home in L.A. They are in L.A. again here today. Rockies win the first two in San Diego and now have lost 3 in a row. Pitching not looking great these last 2 or 3 games. Minus 255 on the full game, minus 118 for the run line for the Dodgers. I don't have much of a feel for this one. Marquez was all right first time around. I like with Marquez to if he's fantastic one start, I like to go against him in the next one. If he's ugly and he's at home, then I might back him at home. Or if he's ugly on the road and then comes back home in a bounce-back spot, I do like Marquez. So I'll leave this one on the table. Dodgers have had a ton of success against the Rockies, so I'll say they get the win, but not a full confidence pick by any means. So nothing really lightened me up today with the baseball board, but at least get a nice rundown there. And then I'm sure Jeff and Scotty will have better thoughts on the baseball board tonight. I am not as confident with baseball as a solo host as I am with basketball or football there. So unless something's really slapping me in the face. So moving on, and then we'll get out of here. Quick Masters thoughts. I've got my Masters blog coming out. I got my picks squared away and locked in. I just need to get down and get to typing and get things words onto paper and get that thing published tonight. One that I was interested in that I wanted to mention, and you can read it in my blog and get the rest of my picks in my blog. The one that I wanted to bring up, though, and I'm going to double-check the odds here, looking at the nationality props. And doing that sometimes can kind of help you decipher and, try to make sense of the full tournament odds. But anyways, you've got Rory McIlroy, one of the, as I'm seeing on this book right here, 7-1 in line with Scotty Scheffler as the favorite for the tournament. Yet you go over to the top finishing Great Britain / Irish player, and Rory is, as an Irish player, he is minus just Irish players, which is essentially him, Shane Lowry, Seamus Power, and Matthew McLean. He's minus 310. Which I can understand. But then you add in English players and Irish players, and he's he's plus 120. So that one smells a little bit to me. Obviously, it's a tough pill to swallow betting against Rory in that sense. We're trying to predict that Rory isn't going to be top 10, top 20, whatever it is. Not only that, and on a different book, it was a little longer odds, but Justin Rose, 650, plus 650 to be the top English / Irish player, ahead of Matt Fitzpatrick at 7-1, Fleetwood 7-1, Shane Lowry 850, Tyrrell Hatton 850. So not only did I feel that the Rory McIlroy plus 120 odds were pretty stinky, a little too good to be true there. Unless they're giving you a cookie right there, that one was too good to be true. And on top of that, Justin Rose at 650 ahead of some higher ranked guys in especially Matt Fitzpatrick there was kind of eye-opening to me. So taking a swing with on top of some other stuff, 4 different players with different props and a little different action on Justin Rose as well. But Justin Rose plus 650. Actually, I think I did some shopping. 8 to 1 was the odds that I grabbed for Justin Rose to be the top English/Irish player. But obviously, if you like Tommy Fleetwood, Matt Fitzpatrick, or even Shane Lowry, Taylor Hatton, you can fire away on any of those guys as well. Because I do believe that Rory McIlroy at plus 120. I think on the other book that I saw it was plus 100. Very, very, very too good to be true for my eyes there. I obviously could be wrong. Rory could win the whole thing by 10 strokes, and I could be eating my words. But that was one. That was the one thing that lit up my eyes the most on that one there. So figured I'd share that with you guys, and then now you guys got to go and read my blog here tonight. So without further ado, I will go ahead and move on and get out of here. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. Thank you, Connor, for commenting with me. Sorry if I botched your, as you said, it's no worries, but sorry if I botched your last name there. But nonetheless, thank you, everybody, for stopping by. I believe I will be back tomorrow. I'm sure Jeff and I will be talking more Masters as well as golf. I'm not sure what the weekend or Thursday through the weekend holds, but I will be around as well. If you have any questions, my Twitter page is scrolling down there at the bottom at Riley_Magnuson1. And obviously you can find Jeff and everything East Coast Sports Investors at EC Sports Invest. So thank you everyone for stopping by. I will get out of here. Best of luck on everything you got going on tonight. Best of luck if you're wagering on the Masters this weekend. And stay safe and stay true to yourself. I will see y'all tomorrow.